It must be Wednesday. That's for the promo right there, Ciara and Lisa. Welcome to Fired Up Live. We are here 2 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday on season 2 of Fired Up. Lisa, how are you this afternoon?
I'm great, but the camera does not want to focus on you for some reason.
We're having technical difficulties already. Well, not already, but maybe for the first time. So it's okay because while you're doing that, I'm going to let everybody know that I appreciate them joining. Make sure you jump in the comments with any questions, um, any comments, any concerns, anything you have that you want to bring to the table for the discussion. We would appreciate it. We'd love it. It keeps the engagement going. And we have a really, really great episode today. We have some industry veterans, some heavy hitters coming on the show. And Lisa is going to work her way back over here. We're going to be talking about the good, the great, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the different things going on in different parts of the industry. From the manufacturing side, we have Doerr of UNOX, and we have Neil Inverso of One Source Reps. So without further ado, Lisa, let's bring these gentlemen in on the live.
Hello, hello.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
So before we get started, I just give a quick little intro, quick little background bio on you. Gene, why don't you go first? Let everybody know who you are.
My name is Doerr. I'm with UNOX. Been with UNOX going on 7 years now. Been in the industry about 15. Worked most of my entire career, even before this industry, in service as a technician, as a manager, as a director, and now I'm actually working more on organizing technical trainings and being the technical resource for the dealer and consultant network.
Awesome. And Neil, a little bit about yourself.
I am currently president and CEO of One Source Reps in Philadelphia, as well as serving as MAFSI president. So I've been in the industry for 43 years now, and actually started out as a tech myself as a young man. So I've held every sales position, service position in the industry, and that's what I do.
Love it. I mean, it's safe to say we have a lot of industry power on here today, and the point of these fired ups really is to, especially this episode, is to bring some information to people, to bring some insight, and to get people talking, around the industry that we all work in and love. So right out of the gate, it's been I think we're well past COVID, but there's the challenges. Some of them still remain. There's been some great positives coming out of this thing. So I'll start. Gene, let's kick some things off here, as from the manufacturer perspective. What would you say? I would say you yourself, but also UNOX and your team are excelling at right now.
I guess as a company, the thing that I'm most proud of UNOX is that their innovation in the oven space of our industry. I mean, when I started, it had already, in 2015, they had already introduced a smart combi oven with adaptive cooking technology that could automatically change the cooking process based on differences in the food or other external things. And they were actually already using IoT, Internet of Things, at that time. We were collecting data, giving it to the operators of the ovens, the chefs, the management team, where they could see how the unit was being used. They could see the energy usage, water usage, detergent usage, and the unit would even take information from what they were doing and send them recommendations about other recipes they could be using or other things they could be doing to fill the time in the oven. That was way back then. And more recently, we've really changed sort of the food preservation industry. I think I showed you when you were at the show. We have a system now that you can cook a product in the combi oven, take it out immediately using our vacuum pump system. You can vacuum seal it in the pan and immediately move it into an Everio. You can hold this product for up to 72 hours. And that's really been a game changer in that part. And furthermore, last year we released the first ever, well, it's funny, a couple years ago, in April Fool's, UNOX has always set out this video, something like kind of beyond believable, right? And they, a couple years ago, they sent out a video of a speed oven washing itself. And I got calls from other people in the industry.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, lo and behold, now, what is it? Last year, we just introduced the SpeedX, which is the combination of a combi oven and a speed oven. And guess what? It washes itself. So, that technology and when you combine those technologies with convection cooking, moisture, and microwave, you can really achieve some hyper speed levels of cooking. It's really, so that's really what's made me excited about this company.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. There's a lot of innovation coming out of the manufacturing side, especially with combi technology. Neil, you guys are repping some of the biggest leading brands as well down here out of Philly in the market. And what are some of the things that that you guys are seeing that you're excelling at, you're excited about it in your company?
For us, being a rep group, marketing is key. And a few years back, we pivoted towards the end user, sort of more of a direct marketing, still using the channel, of course, for distribution, but marketing those brands directly to the end users. And through our web presence, our videos, our events in our kitchen, we've really seen a lot of traction, especially this year, and pretty proud of that. And actually the conversions that we have as a result of those. So it's working out very well, and I think the team's doing a great job at it.
I love it. I mean, you know me, I'm very big on the marketing and really interacting and connecting with customers. So I think that's huge. What some of these events that you're having? What's going on in some of these events? I'm curious to know, and maybe me and Lisa would love to even come down and check it out one time. So what's going on in these events? What's getting people in the doors?
Well, actually, our next event is a beverage event. It's brewing, so it's middle B brands that we represent very heavily into the beverage segment. So brands like Concordia, Cinesso, Marco, and then on the beer side, actually SS Brew Tech will have beer brewing here in a system in our facility. All the coffee equipment will be live, carbonated waters. So all things beverage. And boy, I wish I had those dates right off the top of my head, but we'll watch social media. We just launched our first invite just yesterday.
I was going to say, Neil, I like beer.
Yeah. There you go.
Come on down, Gene. You're welcome.
There you go. No, we could always we could link up the website too. Is it onesourcereps.com as well?
Yeah, we also have a live link for our YouTube channel. So
yeah,
we'll get that over to you, and that would be great.
Yeah, we'll promote that. We'll get that together.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course, with all the great things that are going on, there's always those challenges. I know from the service side, response times has been challenging for us. Oh, Lisa, wait, Lisa's clocking in.
Because you're moving on to challenges here, but
I'm moving on too
haven't
quick.
talked about yourself. What do you feel like you and your team is excelling at? Because I feel like anyone who's upstairs watching right now, they're going to be like, what the heck? Rich just skipped over us.
What about us?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, listen, from the service side, I think that we are excelling at aligning the departments, because that was a challenge for us, honestly, coming out of pandemic and from parts to service and scheduling calls. And when you're growing and you do an acquisition of another company and you have all these things that are going on all at the same time, adding some really quality people up there has been a goal of ours, and we finally have been able to do that the past 6 to 12 months. So just aligning the departments and making sure that there's that symbiotic flow between parts and service and dispatch, which was really a struggle, again, coming out of pandemic. So kudos to the team up there doing that. That's huge for us. Yes, Lisa, something else?
No.
Do we have any comments before we?
No, it was just that the only comments that came in so far were Jason and Taz saying, "What's up?"
All right. Well, Jason and Taz, our normal, regular scheduled viewers. We appreciate those guys, right? Yeah, and just being able to add technicians. I think social media, again, coming back live and doing a lot of those things. Another way that we've been really to another positive, another way we're kind of excelling and growing the brand and the core techs. We were adding hopefully another 2 more technicians as I speak, probably right after Labor Day, which will bring us to a total 25, I think, head count. So that's going to continue to help the market with service and install. So thank you, Lisa. I could have gotten in trouble if I didn't do that. Challenges though. I mean, listen, we're all facing them. I was going to go into my, so I'll go back around to what we're challenged with here. But Neil, I'll stick with you on this, and we'll get to Gene in a second. Challenges, anything that's, maybe since pandemic, anything that you guys have been seeing that's maybe a struggle or a challenge or that you're working through?
Actually, I guess there's two. One, being charged with sales in the region. One is actually selling through dealer inventory. Supply chain really created a strange scenario where there were a lot of stock orders placed for distribution, and a lot of that backed up towards the end of sort of fixing supply chain. So within a few of our largest distributors, there was heavy inventory to sell through. So that's kind of softened our sales for the year a bit, but we're starting to see our way through it, and things. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll start to get to some sort of normalcy again and understand what the new normal is in equipment sales and growth. And the other thing, you don't service my area, so present company excluded. Service has been a big issue for us. We have a full-time person that handles service follow-up. It's something a rep doesn't get paid for, but I feel it's very important to keep our hands in and work as a liaison. And there's still a lack of ASAs out there, and wait times are long, and it saps a lot of our time and energy, and so we still struggle with that. That's probably our biggest struggle. We always find a way to sell something. We can't affect service the way we'd like to.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in on this too, because being on that side of it, understanding your pain. And by the way, we appreciate when reps are that liaison and they step in and they kind of have the service companies back. We work a lot up here with Pacinka Ferry being one of them. Joe Ferry, you're close with them. They've always been great partners and just kind of stepping in and helping along the way, because we need that sometimes. And I understand the wait times, because that's one of the challenges I was going to bring up too. It's we're having a hard time, of course, just getting to calls and getting new technicians trained up. We have a few guys coming on board, so hopefully that's going to continue to help develop our market here and be a little bit better for you and the rest of the the network. It is a challenge, so I feel for you, and I love talking about it, because I know the more we talk about it, everyone listening, we can continue to develop better ways. So if anyone's watching, listening, service, let's jump in and see what ideas you might have if you're watching, any input rather that you want to add to it. Gene, challenges going on out for UNOX. Anything you want to make mention of that you're seeing?
The part of the business that I'm involved in, obviously, the getting service to our customers in an immediate time frame has been the biggest challenge. Like Neil said, it's really what causes us problems on a daily basis. And let's face it, every service company I talk to is looking for technicians. Every single one. We're trying to do some things, when I talked about innovation before, we have, our newer ovens have this digital ID platform, and it has a, video camera on it. The customer can actually call us right from the unit, and we can talk to them through the unit on a video camera, get some information immediately, and hopefully that, speeds up the troubleshooting process and the dispatching process. One of the things I'd really like to see is a better integration between, service company business systems and manufacturer business systems. I think the software, gurus out there that can come along and produce an open but yet secure interface where competing brands of software can exchange information and really speed things up. I think that would help out a lot in this area.
If I could add to that, it's not just, so it doesn't fall squarely on Rich and Maliki. It doesn't fall squarely on a rep or a manufacturer even, but I'm a big believer in bringing technologies together. That's what I'm trying to do as part of my MAFSI platform, and as well as my own business forever. But our communication level is still primitive. We get our hands into service to make sure that we're the liaison, right? But then we're calling the ASA to see if that tech went out, and then they're calling their tech to see if they went out, and the tech's in the field trying to call the factory who doesn't have somebody sitting at a help desk waiting to help him. So we're tying you up. There are technology, there is software out there now that we need to embrace where someone from Malachi's in the field, they diagnose something, it goes into a centralized system. I see a report, the factory sees a report, or that initial service call that goes out. I see that Malachi gets a call for this customer who has a steamer who I know never changes filters, and I can immediately jump in and communicate and say, you know what? I know that guy. I've been there. They never change their filters. It's probably going to be a water problem. Look there first. There's so many things we can do to communicate better and not, I don't have to have a guy on the phone for 8 hours a day following up to find out whether or not you went out. So there are things we can embrace to make things better quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. Sorry, go ahead, Gene.
Oh yeah, I was going to kind of add on to that too as well. I know not just UNOX, but other manufacturers as well. We're all working on building better training platforms. Training in person is what the techs want. I'm sorry about this. We have these energy saving lights in here, but anyway, the techs want in-person training, and I think we do get the best results from that. But we can save a lot of time by doing certain things online and condensing the training into subject matter, error code related, things like that, to where they can grab it on demand, either before they go in, see a quick clip, see a quick, information, and do a lot of things with their smartphone. So, we're all working to improve those things.
Our brands are doing that right now as well, but we actually loaned our kitchen out for free to a service team that handles actually New York and Philadelphia for 3 of our brands to come in and train them on site in our test facility with hands-on training 3 separate days. So regionally, I think we can do a better job training ASAs as well.
Yeah, I love that. I would be happy to send technicians locally to different reps. And I have a test kitchen here that we just put in, and it's open to any manufacturer that wants to come. I know we have Colpack coming in January, and we could fit a good 20 technicians in here. I'd be open to that. That's probably for another discussion, but just to put it out there for sure. I mean, that's an important piece. Lisa, did you have anything to bring up?
I was bringing up some comments, but Jesus also says we use that sort of technology on refrigeration units such as walk-in coolers and rack systems.
Yeah, I mean the software part of it. I mean, we've sat here for so many years too, thinking, what can we do to alleviate that stress and that constant person doing the follow-ups, because that's the communication is so key in all of this. I mean, my office is probably so sick of hearing me saying, be urgent, be communicative, be urgent, be communicative. If there's a software, and we look at our software and we have Davisware, and I don't think the portal that's offered is really going to be of value to the back and forth or anything that we need for anyone to see or get alerts or any of that. So if anyone's watching and there is a software that, I know HubSpot has some things and Zendesk, but I don't know if that's the solution, but I'm sure there's something that we could be doing. So that, like Neil said, you take that video, take the picture, you update it. Once it's sent, everyone can get an alert. We don't need people sitting here calling all day. We could see, and if we need to call, we will, but now we have those updates and we can see those things. 9 times out of 10, that's the bulk of the calls, the follow-ups and the follow. If we can continue to just communicate to each other and the customers quicker, I mean, it'll be a game changer.
So not to prolong this, because I know you have other questions, but somebody mentioned that this technology already exists, error codes and self-diagnosis. Funny story, won't name any brands or anything, but we did see an error code on a piece of refrigeration and called the tech help desk, and the answer was, yeah, we don't know what that code is. So, there's a lot of bells and whistles on equipment today, but everybody's not trained, and the help isn't necessarily there on a factory end sometimes. Sometimes the ASA doesn't understand what it means. I don't know as the rep, and I should. So, there's a lot of training and education needs to go on still.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we all. Sorry, Gene, go ahead.
No. That's it. I was just agreeing with that. Yes. It's a long way to go.
Yeah. We'll keep the conversation going. Talking about, the kitchens of the future. How will integration of AI and IoT technologies impact the efficiency and functionality of commercial food equipment and smart kitchens of the future? Gene, you want to jump on that?
Sure. I know, one technology that we're introducing is sort of, optic cooking, where a unit can look at what's being put into the oven and automatically set a program for it. And if you can imagine that, if units connected all over the world doing that same thing, and maybe information can be shared between the units and what's being cooked, I think over time that'll change things a lot. Just the quality of what's being put in and how it's being cooked. The ovens will also take feedback from the chefs, where they'll say, you know what, I didn't really like the result, and they can put in a couple values, and the units will automatically change themselves and automatically cook based on that feedback. And then there's, the energy technology, smart energy technology will look at what, water usage. It'll look when is the most optimum time to wash a unit based on when is energy most available and things like that. And it will look at, the ability of an oven to detect how dirty the unit is will only improve, and it will determine how much detergent to use and when exactly to cook it. I think those things will all come.
Yeah, I love that. And Neil, so yeah, AI, IoT, even robotics, all these different things that are happening out there. How do you see this impacting the kitchens of the future?
It's all moving so quickly. The Middleby brands that I represent, we have a number of robotics and with fryers and dispensing of frozen fries into fryers. We have, we're now coming up across many of the brands, a user interface that's common to each piece of equipment. So you learn how to use one brand, you automatically know how to use the rest, because they'll all have that same control. And then we have software where everything's interconnected. I can have a chain of 1,000 C-stores who needs to put a new menu in and just drop it from the web and have all the stores updated at once. We can also monitor temperatures, conditioning in the building, walk-ins, your fryer, how many cycles it went through, how much product you're using. We can do all that today. And, it's a question of people getting to know it, embracing it, and us developing further. Robotics are expensive today, but the technology we brought into the kitchen only increases productivity and consistency. So it's great for the end product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this, like, a question for you, just like off the top of my head here: good or bad robotics in the food service? You see a lot of stuff in the news. I see different posts on social media and different places about people are up in arms, they're angry, they're the robots, only things are taking our jobs. I kind of have a different outlook on that, but even we were talking with United Robotics. I'm not sure if you saw that episode a few weeks back, but United Robotics, they're putting out something called Play-Doh, which is a Cobiot that's kind of really there to assist and help waiters, waitresses, and get escorting dirty plates back to the kitchen where they belong. Can map the restaurant and knows where to go, when to stop, and it's really there to help. So I'll start with you, Neil. What good or bad? What do you think about robotics in the industry as far as that goes?
It's good. I mean, I have a lot of close friends who own many restaurants, and labor is still an issue, and the cost of labor, the consistency of getting that person into work. And I would challenge you to say, are we taking jobs away, or are we adding more skilled developmental jobs in manufacturing and software? And so maybe we're losing somebody walking dishes to the dish room, but maybe they're becoming a software engineer or learning code. So I don't know that it's a bad thing. I embrace it.
I'm with you. I agree. Gene, what do you think?
Yeah, as well. I think about this quite often, actually. I think, as societies become more educated, people don't want to do certain jobs anymore. There's not as many people willing to do those jobs. So, and we're becoming more and more educated all the time. The amount of people that go to college nowadays and get a bachelor's and even a master's is increasing every year. So also there's a number of jobs that are, frankly, just dangerous. And those robotics are great for that. I think it, helps our economy, and in the end, it makes more jobs available for people.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a wonderful thing. And anytime there's changes brought about in society and over time, I often think about. Listen, I listen to Gary Vee, and he always talks about, when TV came, everyone was like, oh, radio, no radio. TV took the place of the radio. The internet's taken the place of TV. Then there's changes. We're going through different generational changes. I think this is just something that should be embraced. Any questions or comments, Lisa?
What's the radio?
What's the radio? Lisa's funny.
She may have been serious.
I think she might be. We'll talk about cassette tapes in a little bit.
It's actually funny. I've all summer, my father-in-law gave me a VHS camera, and I've been filming on my VHS camera.
Nice.
See?
So Jason Hartman says, with all the tech, AI, and robotics, how do you jumpstart the service tech industry to keep up with the innovations that the manufacturers are doing?
I don't know, Gene, if you want to talk just from the service perspective, I think that I've talked to a lot of our senior guys, especially, and a lot of them are excited to kind of dive into the robotics part of it. We haven't seen really much training. I'm not sure there's much out there for us to service just yet. I know that Flippy, and I see a lot of different things that are coming. So I mean, from the robot, Gene or Neil, you want to jump on that?
So let's think about what he just said there too. One, of course, certain robotics, they're intimidating to people. They haven't seen them before. But the key word he said there was innovation. And innovation doesn't mean inventing something new. Innovation is taking existing technology, existing software, and figuring out how you can use that for the situation that you need to improve on, and implementing those existing ideas. So it's not like night and day. A lot of these things are gradually, and they become educated. Now, for the items that aren't, I think it comes back to the training point. Putting those small training sessions together that can get people up to speed really quickly, and with AI, with digital communications, we have a much easier time doing that now than we even did 5 years ago.
And I see it with all the digital controllers we have now, and I see techs come in our kitchen to maintain something or to repair it. You're not going to fix a universal controller. You're going to diagnose it and see that it's bad. You're going to plug a new one in. So how much a tech is going to have to evolve in the near future? Maybe not a lot. I mean, if a robot showed up, that's a different story. But I liken it back to the day of my wife's grandfather worked for Sun Oil Company, and he used to repair gas pumps, and they were manual. And for those who don't remember, they had little wheels that spun around. And then all of a sudden, digitals came in, and he was lost. He was an old man at that point, and he had to retire, and a new generation came and didn't know from that pump. So, maybe it's not even this generation that's working on robots. Maybe it's the next.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I've been thinking about, talking about finding new blood for the industry. That's going to be a great marketing tool, letting these young guys and girls know that you're not just coming into an industry of, fixing greasy equipment and all the stuff, the things you think It's also going to be driven towards robotics and being in a field that's really just so diverse. So I think it's going to be great for marketing the next generation too.
We are actually in the process of trying to launch a website, which will be called Why Food Service Rocks, in conjunction with FCSI and CFESA and NAFM and MAFSI, to link to the college sites where we can draw in new talent. And we're promoting, service tech or technology, sales, because virtually anything you graduate out of college, you can find something in our industry. So we're just trying to link up with the college grads and help them find their way into our field.
I didn't know that. That is a great idea.
You will.
Because then you don't, it's like one of those things, college, and everyone's for college, but there are people going to college, and maybe the ones that are in college, I know young kids right now, they come out, they don't know what to do. This is another option after you graduate. I think that's great.
Your friend Nick Cribb's working on it with us.
You're in good hands. It's a good man. Beautiful. Anything, any comments or questions, Lisa? We're good? Cool. So the next question that we posed here was, what changes can we expect in customer interaction and engagement with restaurants and food establishments as smart kitchens become more prevalent? How might these advancements enhance the overall dining experience? Who wants to jump on that first? Neil?
Sure. I mean, so you go back to COVID, I can think about a lot of experiences where I would go into restaurants and technology was on the front end of the house for the first time. Scan a barcode on your table, order from your phone, pay from your phone, and you literally just had someone coming out of the kitchen delivering food. Um, I mean, that works. McDonald's, fast food, fast casual. This was in a sit down restaurant. That's sort of gone away now that we've gotten through that stage and everything's safe again. Um, I think the biggest impact is the back of the house. It saved front of the house. It saved a lot of labor in fast food and fast casual with the order entry. No doubt about that. Back of the house, again, it delivers consistency to the customer, quicker check times, and then cleaner equipment, more efficient equipment. So that's beneficial to the end user as well.
Yeah, right on. Gene, what changes do you think we're going to expect from interaction and engagement with restaurants and food establishments as smart kitchens become more prevalent? How might these advancements enhance the overall dining experience?
Well, I think actually it's kind of goes back to what Neil was saying earlier. I have two different views. With quick service restaurants, as they continue to have a more difficult time getting good employees, I can really see the evolution of the food locker concept, the smart food locker concept. And because there's going to be less and less direct interaction in that space, I think, between the restaurant employee and the end customer. They're going to order it, it's going to get put in a box, they're going to pick it up, and they're going to go. But on the other side of it, I think I mentioned to you about our digital ID and the ability, Neil was mentioning something similar where we can, a chef can log into any oven around the world with his digital ID and all his preferential settings and all his programs and all that will be there. And they can also transfer this knowledge across the world. So I can imagine that, the great chefs of the world will be able to send their knowledge and their recipes around the world and oversee establishments, allowing more and more people access to really fine dining. I think that could be a really, good outcome from this.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's where we're headed. I mean, we're here. It's really interesting to see. And so with the rise of online food delivery and changing consumer preferences, how will the distribution and supply chain of commercial food equipment evolve to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving culinary landscape? I'll stick with you on this one, Gene. What do you think?
Well, I think it's kind of two different questions there. As far as everybody or a lot of companies had difficult times during COVID with distribution and things like that. All I can really speak to is our company, where that goes. And two things stand out to me is that, one, we're expanding our facility here in Denver, North Carolina, and we're going to start production here. So Made in America is going to help the distribution. But even before that, we already had what we call a vertically integrated company. We control, 90% or more of the production process ourselves. We own the companies that make the stainless steel, or the process that I should say. We own the company that does the plastic and the chemicals and electronic boards and things like that. So we're able to control that and not have to rely on whether other companies are going to stay in business, be productive. So I think the other side of it, the changing changing landscape and the evolving demands of the consumer with this new technology and smart ovens, I think you'll be able to see brands and products change very quickly. I mean, you can imagine a ghost kitchen or even a restaurant at the airport to where you could walk in it one week and they're serving one item, and based on AI data coming in and consumer preferences with the smart equipment, they could completely change their food program in a matter of days to now put out there something that's more in demand.
Yeah, I think we're, we work in the airports, and I don't know if that's what's happening, but there's a lot that what you're saying makes a lot of sense from a lot of the service and installations and things we're doing in a lot of these locations. So yeah, I think you're right. It's happening now. I think you're right. Neil, anything on that?
I mean, delivery preferences changed, but I don't know that the design of restaurants we did. The buzzword ghost kitchens was very popular during the COVID period, and everybody was ramping up and investing in them. And from what I understand, a few of them around us are pretty vacant right now. Most of the independents figured out how to pivot when food delivery changed. You may design a restaurant differently today and accommodate a little more for a quick pickup, or your Uber driver eats to come in and out and check him out efficiently. The independent food service market really just pivots naturally. The COVID, instead of a dining room, it became a bunch of tables with boxes and pickup sitting there waiting to be taken out. And when we got back to safe eating, chairs went behind the tables again, and we resumed. I think the biggest changes will be with those delivery companies, the Uber Eats of the world, and how they service and their fees and who has the best platform. That'll be a landscape that continues to develop.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Is anything before we head into this, begin to close this out?
Well, I have a thought.
Okay.
So I feel like restaurants now, their biggest driver is their Instagrammability. So I'm actually curious to know, in terms of customer experience, I personally feel like customers are looking for those unique experiences in the front of house. So, and anything from really cool mixology things and food that comes on fire on your table. I don't know. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, especially in the New York market, in terms of marketing restaurants. So I'm curious if you guys have anything to say on that of what you've seen, maybe clients you've had that have been a little bit more out of the box to retain that customer dining experience, because not everybody wants to just have fast food and go. They are, at least my generation is looking for the best photos that you can post on Instagram, for example. So yeah, I'm curious what you think about that.
I mean, ours is a very interesting culinary scene in Philadelphia, much like New York is. We have a lot of neighborhoods and a lot of gentrified areas. So the show, if you will, and the vibe, if you will, is something everybody's looking for. I mean, there's everything from soup to nuts in here in Philly, and a lot of it is communicated again, just like this, through social media, Instagram, and just creating a buzz about a restaurant. There's not a real new way of presenting in the front of the restaurant that I've come across lately, but I've had some great dining experiences.
Awesome. Gene, anything on that, or?
Not a lot. I mean, like Lisa was saying, that, people want new experiences, they want change, and like I was kind of hinting at before, if you have the equipment in the back of the house that will allow you to be flexible, versatility is key here. If you have that, then you can make changes in the front of the house to make it exciting, new themes, or I don't know, maybe there's a traveling restaurant that goes from city to city. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see a restaurant concept where they just have, like you were saying, mentioned a new chef every week doing their menu or something like that. Like that's actually a pretty cool concept, and maybe Rich and I have to
Write
start
that
a
down.
business.
Write that down. Put it on the board. And at least I'll to you what you're saying, and then we'll kind of close this out. But obviously, social media in the restaurant business is a big deal. Someone just sent me something. I think it was called Kaya Suma. I forget. I know I'm murdering that in the name of this restaurant. It's ramen. It looks like they have a couple locations in the city in New Jersey, and it's set up like inside a honeycomb type setting. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Been there, overrated.
Overrated, but the concept, because what the glassware they showed is they have two different drinks in one. It's one glass separated, so there's interesting glassware. Did you have that drink?
I did not, because I was there for the ramen, and the ramen was subpar.
All right. Well, I'm glad I murdered the name. I don't want to. All right. So, but these are the interesting things that you're seeing out there. Definitely Instagrammable things and small wares and different things that are changing front of the house stuff.
We did have one local place that had, I think it was a Japanese concept where they had these little burners at your table, inset in every table, and you order the raw food that you want, and you literally sit there and cook it right at the table. I
Yes,
thought that was interesting.
we did that. What's Lisa? What is that called? The pot.
It's a hot pot.
Like a hot
And
pot.
Korean barbecue.
Korean barbecue.
Maybe
So,
that's
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, they brought all the food out, and we're sitting here. I was sweating. I'm cooking. This intense labor, and then it wasn't as good because I cooked it.
Well, that's the thing. You can't complain if you don't like the product, right?
That's right. So it was all me. So we'll close this one out. We could come up with something, a silly one here. I don't know if you have an answer. Great. If not, don't worry about it. If we fast forward to a future where food equipment has personalities and can communicate, if commercial kitchen appliances could talk, what hilarious or quirky conversations might they have with each other? Either one of you guys, have you had anything to add to that?
I do. Mine was more in the form of a joke.
All right. I love it.
What did the fryer say to the range?
I don't know.
Are you off today? The range said yes. Still waiting on the ASA.
I gotta
Sorry,
have to,
Rich.
no, listen, we gotta make a meme of that. I'll give you credit though. Don't worry. I love that.
Well, I can see, in this this cancel culture that we live in today, the electric oven looking over at the gas oven and saying, "You're canceled." And
Cancel culture. It's over.
Rich, in fact, you know what? I think you're going to have to change your Fired Up logo to an Energy Star approved electric heating unit.
You're 100% right. I'm going to get booed off stage here in another month or two. That's awesome. Do we have any final comments or questions from anybody for the?
So Jason, our question generator, he says, how will sustainability with either raw materials or reducing waste change how restaurants produce foods or keep foods? Do you see any innovation in this area?
That's above my pay grade.
We do offer a product called Blue Zone, which helps to maintain freshness and longevity in the walk-in, less food waste. We also have it in rooms for germs, and it's kind of more popular during COVID. I don't think our industry, our country, our culture does enough with food waste. It's sad the amount of food that gets dumped, and knowing, some of the things I'm involved with in Africa and how needy they are for food, I think about what we dump and what they need. So, yeah, there's not enough, to answer your question.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's sad. It is tough. Gene, do you have anything?
I mentioned our Vario product just a little earlier here, and this, you can take food that is right out of the oven. You can hold it in an open container where you might normally get 2 to 4 hours in a holding cabinet. You can get 6 to 8. That's a big difference. And because we're controlling humidity, we're controlling the texture and taste and flavor of the food. So we're really able to hold it much longer. If you go into a vacuum sealing process, either in the pan or in a bag, again, you can hold up to 72 hours, and that really extends the life. And not only that, you're holding it in the safe zone. Above 144 degrees, you're holding it where that product is safe, and you can serve it at any time. And this whole process has actually been certified worldwide by HACCP International. So this is just something that really looks at that of wasting of food.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. Lisa, what else? That's it. All right. So guys, if you have any closing thoughts on any of this, Gene, I'll start with you. Any closing thoughts, and really also where can we find UNOX website, social media, and all that? Give us a little rundown.
Okay. Well, first, Rich, and Lisa, thank you for having me on. Really appreciate the opportunity. And Neil, it's great to meet you, and I love your answers. That's been very insightful. I think as we move forward in this great industry, it's all about collaboration between the business partners, whether it's, CFESA, MAFSI, FCSI, FIDA, NAFM, all of them. and we, getting together, looking at software protocols so we can exchange information better, and in the end, provide a better product to the customer, because that's what it's all about, is improving their business with our businesses, right? So that's what we want to do.
Love it.
And,
Love it. And where can we find UNOX? And social websites?
Denver, North Carolina, great state of North Carolina. www.unox.com. We're on LinkedIn. I'm not a social media guru, so I'm sure we're on other things as well.
You're on all the platforms.
Yeah.
We'll check UNOX out. And Neil, any final thoughts, and where can we find you on social? Any events or anything you want to plug as well?
Well, we'll get that link to the next event for you, and we do have them often, so anyone can. Well, I would go to osreps.com, and all of our links are there for social media, and follow us, please. You'll see upcoming events. You can register for them on the site as well. But thank you for having these conversations, Rich and Lisa, for facilitating them. That's the only way the industry gets better. That's kind of where I'm at in my career now, is trying to get all the families to work together to better the industry and kind of leave it in a better place than when I got here. So we couldn't do it without people like you getting this out on social media and creating the conversation. So thank you.
Wow. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. Lisa, do you have anything? It looks like you want to have one more thing to put up.
Jason just says, great convo and live. Question generation off.
Thank you, Jason. As always, appreciate all the engagement. But yeah, Neil, thank you. Gene, thank you. Your knowledge and expertise, obviously, in this industry is so important and critical. And joining in on these conversations, always get something from these conversations, and it energizes me to go back to to my own business and be better. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge, your expertise, and your love for the industry. We'll see you guys again soon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So while they're off in the green room, Lisa, we will knock down another fired up live. Really a wonder. I think this was a great conversation. We had some great topics at hand. And what do you think, Lisa? Any final words from you?
I just feel like there's always, a recurring theme in all of the conversations, even with all these different facets of the industry. It's literally comes down to, we all need to communicate better. Always.
Yeah. No, and it really does. And again, even in the walls here, communicate. It's a simple word in theory, but it's a tall task every day, and it's because it takes commitment, because it takes urgency, because it takes care, because the word has a lot of meaning behind it, and it takes people that care to do all and execute on those things. So I'm hopeful that we're going to continue to get better as a company, as an industry, and working together is the number one thing. Having each other's backs. Because at the end of the day, these end user customers are really all of our customers. We're all working together to support them and keep them up and running, so they keep coming back and buying the new equipment, so we can keep installing it and servicing it, and makes the world go round. And yeah, I think this was a beautiful one, Lise.
You want to talk about the next upcoming episodes?
I'm going to talk about the next upcoming episodes because you just told me to. So what do we have?
So next week we have Caitlin Rogers.
Oh, yes.
The future as seen at NRA. And this really came about because we saw her on the show floor.
That's what I was going to say. We ran into Caitlin on the show floor and didn't realize she was with NRA now. She's with the National Restaurant Association. And so she's got some really cool things going on and some insight. And hopefully we're going to get to do some more stuff with her at the NRA May 2024. So I'm going to talk to her about that. I want to put her on the spot. I want to make sure we're in. That's an exciting one. What else?
And then we've got starting and owning a service company versus becoming a full-time technician.
We have Josh Zolan, Patrick Finley, Jason Latimer. So we got Josh, who's the CEO of Windy City Equipment, one of my great friends in the industry, guy I look up to, love what he's doing out there. Patrick Finley, Jason Latimer, two technicians, highly acclaimed technicians, I'll say. They're guys I look up to as well. These guys are setting the standard for technicians. I love what they're doing. So really going to have some great conversation there on that topic. And what's one more?
No, I just wanted to bring in.
That's it. Okay.
So Joey Simon says, "Hate, I missed almost all of this episode." Well, it's a great thing that there's a replay.
Come on, Joey. Joey's with UNOX, so Joey, we'll get you on the replay. Make sure you watch it. All right. So Elise, that's it. We're taking it down. This is another Fired Up Live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do it again next week.
Yes.
Stay fired up, everybody. See you next time.